Hi, I'm Heimbach. I've been playing a few live shows recently, and I got a bunch of questions after the show about the drums that I use. And I realized that there is not much info out there about my main drum machine, the Metasonix D1000. So I thought I would make a video about this beautiful machine because it's rare. I think about only 180 to 190 of these were made, and it's a staple of my sound both live and in the studio. So let's get to it. The first thing you notice about the D1000 are these 4 tubes. These are not marketing tubes, meaning they're not put there to just add some power-starved tube saturation and grid. No, the whole circuits are based around these tubes, which is part of the beauty of the whole machine. You've got 2 different kinds of circuits. You've got bandpass filters on the first 3 drums, drum 1, drum 2, snare, and a noise circuit on the cymbal. Each of these drums can be finely adjusted, both with the front controls and a trimmer on the back, which influences the resonance behavior. On the front, you've got 3 controls for the bandpass filters and 2 for the noise source. The controls for the bandpass filters are CV level, which when there's nothing plugged in is a fine tune. Then you've got tune, which will of course change the pitch of the drum, and you've got the mix level, at what volume the sound will be sent to the final mix output, which you can adjust here. So this is all the same for all the 3. On the cymbal you have an attack and you've got a mix level again. The attack will only make the signal more quiet unless you've patched some CV in here. But it's a nice trick to get rid of the bleed of this drum completely, because even if you have turned down the mix level completely, you can still hear the noise source. Noise sources that bleed into the whole system is something that's very common in the synthesizer world. I had a lap loop that did that, I've got the plumbator which does it, and even in my modular some VCAs have trouble completely closing full-on white noise. I've set each drum so it does perfectly what I want. For example, drum 1 is the bass drum. That sounds rather nice. Drum 2 is more of a tom voice or a little percussive noise. Drum 3, called snare, I have made into a melodic or drony voice that can even be used as a bass line sometimes. You can hear there's more of echoload sounding ring to it. This very low bass combined with a bass drum makes for something nice. Because of the way the output stage saturates the signal, the combination of the bass drum and the snare makes for a nice sort of sidechainish ducking effect. Last but not least, we've got the noise source. As you can hear, it's rather simple, but it really works to get rhythmic information across in a dense mix, for example. As you could see, I'm using these switches to sequence each voice, which might seem rather primitive, but in a live situation, especially when it's dark, it's very tactile and fun to play like this. It feels good, you know what you're doing, it's very intuitive, and yeah, just a lot of fun. You've got the master tempo here, goes up to 1000. And you've got rolls for each voice. These rolls are not synced to the master clock, which is a shame. So what I like to do is just make the roll really fast, so I've got drony voices once I play them. A mixture between a didgeridoo and mad acid noises. Up here you've got power and you've got external trigger ins. So you can trigger it from your Eurorack sequencer or whatever else puts out nice, hot, short triggers. You've got a CV in, which makes for melodic control of everything. I'm going to show you some examples of that in a bit. Then you've got individual outs for each drum, which sadly are not subtracted from the mix output once you plug in. And you've got a clock in and a clock out. The clock in was added only in the later models. I don't know from which model on, but if you're looking for one, check that it has a clock in. I think it can be added in via mod later, but it's really nice to have a clock in to sync the machine to your Eurorack. You will need to take a bit of care with the triggers you're sending, because these will be divided down to provide the triggers and pings basically for each filter. So the clock that you put in here will influence the sound of each filter. And now here are some examples where I use external CV on the D1000. One thing you might have noticed by now is that the D1000 has a lot of hum, and the hum is trouble, because the filters get excited by it and they amplify the hum. For example, on the bass drum. And you get these deep droning noises, which makes it really hard to play live, unless you do some tricks. For example, for the bass drum, which is one of the most important sounds, I patch its individual out into the CV in. That keeps the pitch of the drum moving, so it doesn't have time to go into full resonance on the 50 Hz or 60 Hz in the States hum. Let me show you. Here's the hum. Now I'm going a bit more down. Here's the hum at its worst. Now we've got something nice, which we can shape with just the mix level. Louder mix level makes the drum more punchy. Quieter makes it softer and more understated, so you can catch up again on the output. After some time, you'll find and figure out a setting that works for you, especially once you start adjusting the trim on the back. If you found a setting that you like, I can guarantee you that this will sound great on any PA. Small ones, huge ones, the drum will always be present and kick a lot. Plus you get this modulation on it, which sounds really natural, and I love that. One thing that is special about this D1000 is its case. The normal D1000 comes regularly in a gray plastic box that has a lot of space up top and is not flush with its own machine. So you have to play it like this, which is not a lot of fun, especially if you want to play with the rolls, or if you want to play it live like this. This is much easier. And for me, actually, I only discovered playing the rolls once I had this new case, which was made by Ross Lamont, and it makes this machine a better instrument. Plus, it's also smaller, if a bit heavier, but I can now take it in my backpack, which was not possible with the old box, which was so big that you just had empty space and empty air in there. Second-hand prices of the D1000 are only rising, which is fun because when I bought this, not many people wanted it, and I actually got it in a sale at Escape from Noise, which made me really happy. It was one of the last that I could grab before it was announced that the whole series was discontinued. So with rising second-hand prices, what can you do to get that sound? Well, the easiest thing would be to get Metasonix modules, especially the R54 Super module. 3 of these would give you the sound of the D1000 and a bit more, because the R54 sounds a bit more hi-fi and has more possibilities for modulation. And it's also VCA in the Mark II version. So you can get some part of the sound, at least, of the D1000 with readily available modules like the R54. What you don't get, of course, is the compactness and the lovely sequencer, which is also missing, sadly, from the new module, the D2000, which looks more like a rack instrument and not like this beautiful compact instrument that the D1000 is. I hope this cleared up a bunch of questions that might be there about the D1000, as there's not much information out there. If you have any further questions, leave them in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.